In 1969, 432 Dodge Charger RTs left the assembly plant with the legendary 426 Hemi. 225 of them were automatic transmissions, while only 207 were 4-speeds. This is one of those 4-speed cars, and the restoration begins now. Okay, so right now Alyssa and I are out looking at a 1969 Dodge Charger RT 426 Hemi 4-speed, one of only
207.
207. See, she's getting better every year. Better every year. Good job. The reason I want to go over this car before we disassemble it, Doug's all queued up and he's ready to go to town on getting it taken apart, inventory, so we can get it off and get it dipped and begin the restoration. This car has a flaw, a VIN flaw.
Oh.
Now, there's a lot of speculation when out there in the world when there's a flaw. Is it a flaw or is it a super rare car? Now, in this case, we already know it's a super rare car, but I've had people send me VIN numbers like a 73 Cuda that's got a U code in it. Well, the 440 Magnum wasn't available. It's 440 Super Commander wasn't available after 71. So it was just a goof up or a typo. Just like if you put an A where there should be an O.
Okay.
In this case, we're dealing with a 69 Charger whose VIN should be XS, X-Ray Sam 29J9G. Now that J is what makes it a 426 Hemi car.
Okay.
On our car, it's missing on the dash fin. So I want to show you what that looks like and how you can find out, besides just a dash fin, that it is a legitimate Hemi car. So are you
that
ready?
was going to be, yes.
What was your question?
That was going to be my question, is how do you know it's not a fake VIN versus a mistake?
Or goof, right. And there's other things, there's other DNA evidence on the car that's going to prove that that car is a real one of 207 1969 Dodge Charger RTs with a 426 Hemi.
Okay, I'm excited to see.
And just out of curiosity, if it was an automatic, how many were built?
Oh.
Let me help you out. There were 432 total 69 Charger 426 Hemis.
See?
207 of them.
So 432 minus 207, you got the answer. Do that at home, kids.
Okay.
There's
Math
pressure.
wasn't her strong suit. It's okay. Let's look at this thing. Okay. Let's start by looking at the dash VIN. Now, this plate right here cannot be reproduced.
Okay.
They can legally reproduce the fender tag, the door VIN label in 1970 and up. They can make replicas of original window stickers, but you can't duplicate this and you can't duplicate a broadcast sheet. It's again the law. So whatever you have is what you have. Let's start by looking at the VIN number. First, I'll have you go ahead and read it off.
XS299G182937.
Okay. And how many characters is that?
8, 10, 12.
Okay. They should be 13 characters.
Okay.
The character that is missing in this VIN, which makes this so provocative. I mean, I know the car is a real car, but to me, this is the nerdery stuff that I love seeing. Tony, we just love stuff like this because we're so used to seeing the same thing over and over. When you see an objection versus the rule, it's fun. In this particular case, do you know what letter and where it would go in the VIN that would tell you this is a real Hemi car?
You're missing the J, and it'd be in the 5th position?
5th position,
between
exactly
the
right.
two nines?
In 1966, it was an H, which made sense for the Hemi. But from 67 to 69, it was a J that meant it was a Hemi. And then it was an R in 70 and 71. Okay. In this case, we're missing, somebody smoked the J, is what I'm saying.
Which that's,
you see
okay,
what I'm getting
yeah, whatever. So anyways.
Anywho,
so
the J
that's
is
what made
missing.
that car special. So that's a big.
So that's a big thing. You're out in a field and this thing's knee deep. It's up to here in water. All you can do is read the VIN. Oh God, XS299G, XS299. There should be a letter in there. There's no letter in there. You'd have to guess. Now in this particular case, it isn't buried in water, and we can look at the rest of the car, the rest of the markers on the car that tell us this is a real Hemi car. You will admit there's only 12 digits here.
Yep.
And there should be 13.
Yes.
All right. With that, let's take a look at the fender tag under the hood. That's our first piece of nomenclature.
Okay.
I purposely did not take this off. I left it on there. Somebody has rattle canned the engine compartment black. That was a very common thing that happened. I don't know why, but guys back in the day thought it was cooler if their engine compartment was black. Now my burnt orange 70 Charger, I never did that because I wasn't a butcher. But somebody felt the need to paint this engine compartment black. And if you're watching, I'm sorry. It's not my cup of tea, all right? This is the original fender tag. You can tell by, you see these markings right here, these stamps.
Yeah.
Those are inspection. That's the person that inspected the vehicle stamped those numbers in there. This is a very real original. If you compare this to a replacement, this is 100% authentic. All right, the bottom row. Now we know that our fender tags read bottom to top, left to right, just kind of opposite of the way that a book would read. So we start on the very bottom row. Okay, so the first one is the E74. That's the engine size. What size is an E74?
Hemi.
Yep, 426.
426.
The next one is a D, like David, 21. What does that stand for? 4-speed manual transmission. That's fine.
4-speed.
That's the gold right there, the D21. That's what makes it even more desirable. Most guys want that D21 there. This is the full VIN. So let's read it.
XS29J9G182937.
Okay. And we know from our VIN, the one digit that's missing is the J.
Yep.
You love the J, right?
Yep.
Okay.
I mean, it's a Hemi.
No, yeah, no,
You're
it's a
so
Hemi.
stupid. Okay.
I know, I am dumb. The rest of it's the way the car's built, that it's a blue car that's got B7 blue guts, which is really cool. It's an A33, means it's a 354 Dana. It's a light group car, AM radio. V1X is a vinyl top car. This would be a very pretty car. It's a striped elite car, which is unfortunate, but we may end up adding a Bumblebee to it. But now we have an original fender tag that does have the full VIN on it. And that VIN is very important because of that J right there. Now, the secret or hidden body numbers that will match the last 8 characters of that VIN, let's take a look at those.
6 characters?
Well, the last 8 characters.
Oh, so it's going to be 9G?
Right, except that they usually put the G and the 9 backwards for some reason. But let's take a look at the radiator support. This is the upper radiator support, or the yoke. This is one of the hidden numbers that they talk about. And the reason they call this one a hidden number is if you look, there's the number. If the radiator was mounted in this car, it would be difficult to see it. You can, but it's difficult to see, and that's one reason they called it a hidden number. This is a theft prevention thing. If somebody stole that fender tag, or they stole the car and they put a different fender tag on it, and it didn't match this number here, or the dash VIN didn't match this number, something's up.
Yeah.
This is the things that make it numbers matching. Now this one's missing the original engine and transmission, so it's not a numbers matching engine and transmission, but the body is. All right, so let's take a look at that code right there. I'll point to it.
Okay, so it's G9182937.
Okay.
So.
And if you read over here.
They flipped the 9 and G around, which you said they were going to do that.
They do that.
And then it's 182937.
Perfect.
So it's the same.
So looking at this radiator support in through these areas here, it's really hard to see, but this is all original spot welding through there. So that tells me that radiator support's never been changed. So now there's another hidden number on the back of the car on the trunk lip. So let's take a look at that.
Okay.
Raise it up. There's our lid. So that's where the VIN is. Why don't you go get the drill and the wire brush off the Ranger. I've actually cleaned this off earlier. So normally here's what you have. You see the weather strip that goes around this side right here, all the way around?
Yep.
It went at one time, you can see the residue of it all the way around. They put that VIN underneath the weather strip, so you have to pull that weather strip back. Anytime you see me documenting a car, like when they were over at Summers that time with the 69.5 Super B, that was one where you have to pull it back and you have to run the risk of ruining the paint, because if it's flooded, you got to see those numbers. And what I want you to do is run the wire wheel on this area through here and get it cleaned up. Make long strokes left and right. So, starting at the beginning, this number is going to read exactly the way the core support number read. Okay, so read that off.
G9182937.
Absolute match to the rest of the car.
Yep.
Now, also, just to point out, that is definitely a number 1 and not an I. I've had people make the mistake of thinking that's an I because it looks like it.
Yeah.
They never put an I in the VIN. They didn't want it confused with a 1. And there's no zeros here, but if there was a 0 in there, it would really be the number 0 and it wouldn't be the O. They also never put an O in the VIN. Okay, so we know now that the trunk lip hidden numbers that spend its whole life underneath that weather strip match the radiator support, which spent its entire life on the car, which match the fender tag that doesn't look like it's ever been off, matches the dash VIN. So right now, from the numbers, from the nomenclature standpoint, we're golden.
Yep.
I'm going to have Doug raise it up in the air because he's going to start disassembling it. When he gets it up, I want to look at the markers underneath the car that also tell you this car left the factory designed to be a Hemi car. Okay? All right, so what I want to point out here, now there's a lot to unpack, as they say in the news, but I'm going to try to keep it as easy to remember for what we're topically working on. Now, right now we're working on a 69 Dodge Charger. Okay? We're trying to determine if the rest of the car supports the idea, the notion that it's a real J-code 426 Hemi. So on this car, they focused most of the undercarriage reinforcement on the back half of the car. They didn't care too much about the front, they cared about the back. Okay. So if you use your light and light this area up right here, do you see this steel plate that's been welded in?
Yes.
It definitely does not look like something that the assembly line put on, meaning it wasn't spot welded, but it was an afterthought by the factory. That's why it's MIG welded into place. It ties this frame rail together with this leaf spring hanger or shackle hanger at the back. It gets this area really solid so that it can't twist.
Okay.
Now, they never built a convertible Charger, period, okay? But if you had a 69B body, the other ones, like a Hemi Roadrunner convertible, it would certainly have those. But let's say it was a 318 convertible satellite, it would also have those. They were worried about twisting the car, even though the engine didn't mean it would have enough horsepower to twist. When they cut that roof out, they knew they were going to lose a lot of strength.
Yeah.
So a 318-69 satellite would also have that. There's one on this side, and if you look over here, this is the matching one to it right here. You can see that they've got a plug weld here and here, and then they've MIG welded it around the edges. And that again ties our frame rail to our leaf spring shackle. So if we go forward a little bit, the only other two areas that make this very, very unique Hemi is, take a look here, use your light. Now, this plate here is absolutely 100% what every B body would have, this one here. But do you see this insert piece that's been welded in? Mm-hmm. This smaller one?
Yeah.
That's the pinion snubber reinforcement. They anticipated that Newton's theory of opposition, for every action there's an equal and opposite reaction.
Yeah.
Yeah, Newton's theory of opposition would really come into play on a 426 Hemi, that thing would spool up and that this rubber would hit that floor. Now they knew it was going to probably do it on a 440 car, they knew it was going to do it on other cars if you wound it up and dumped the clutch. But on this one they were so sure of it they wanted to reinforce that pinion plate right there. Wow. So that is a factory piece, and you notice it's welded on very much like those back ones. It wasn't a spot weld on like every car got it. It just got that. Mm-hmm. Now, if you had a convertible 69B body that was a 318, you wouldn't have got that. They weren't worried about that pinion hitting there. So the last thing is the subframe connectors at the front of the leaf spring, all right? Okay. So let's take a look at this one right here. Here's some unique things that they're also anticipating a lot of torque. This subframe connector or torque box. Typically speaking, this wouldn't be there. Like on a 440 car, a 69 Charger RT 440, it wouldn't have it. But look what they've done. They've tied this frame rail, which they tied at the back, they tied it at the front in with the floor pan and the rocker. Look at that series of welds. Those are all after the thought welds that a Hemi car would get. If you look up in there, you see how they're welded.
Huge spider up there too.
Okay. All right.
That's huge.
Well, we're going to ignore the spider because I don't like spiders either, so let's not talk about that. Now, if you look in there, do you see that steel plate that has a hole in it and part of it's welded up?
Yep.
Right there? That also reinforces, there's another one on the other side, and that reinforces the front of the leaf spring hanger where it goes into this section of the frame rail. Come over to this side, and you can see it right up through here very barely, but do you see that extra piece of metal in there? Mm-hmm. Those are what tell you this is a real live 426 Hemi 1969 Dodge Charger. Okay?
Okay.
All right. Class adjourned. Hello ghouls, Mark Warman here, the Ice Tray from Graveyard Carz. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like it, drop a comment down below, and subscribe to our channel. We have fantastic stuff coming up, and some of it you've never seen before. I gotta go insult people. Hey, Alice!